I found that all of these parents love their children. Even if they promise themselves, I'm never gonna do what my parent did, under really stressful conditions, people will just go with what they know. That's how intergenerational transmission of abuse and trauma takes place. It's not that any parent sets out to abuse their child, it's life crashing down on them.
Over the last 10 years, we've had a shift in thinking, a shift from being a child protection system to a family well-being system. In San Francisco, there are 26 family resource centers. Safe and Sound is one of those family resource centers. Families come to us for a whole host of different services: counseling, childcare, parenting education, sort of whatever they need to keep their kids safe. It starts with just walking through our front door or picking up the phone and asking for help.
Talk line, hello. The talk line is a parental support line. It's 24/7, 365. How have things been for your kids? It's really there to support them in the ever-increasingly difficult job of parenting. The vast majority of our calls are daily stressors. Those teenage years, it brings all kinds of challenges.
Kyle helped me so much. I would get his phone call once a week. I knew he had my back.
The main way that the talk line is different from other kind of support or crisis lines is that we build an ongoing relationship. I would love to check in with you next week and see how you're doing. At the end of every call, we offer a follow-up call as a way to connect with them again and to offer a regular volunteer to them. From there, that volunteer is calling that parent and building that relationship every week. It's important to have an awareness of our own implicit biases. Biases can be a barrier to clients accessing services at times.
One of the most prominent themes that we often hear from families is their sincere fear if they come forward and say, I'm having a problem and I need help, that they will expose their children to the risk of being removed. Those are not unfounded fears in many situations. Primary prevention involves providing the sorts of supports that we would expect any parents to need in order to care for their children in safe and healthy ways. If we're able to address protective factors very early on, we have the beginning of a system that will enable us to prevent much more difficult things from happening to children, such as child abuse, child neglect, family separation.
Good job.
The talk line is always about trying to connect our callers with other services to address some of those things that are bigger than what the line can do.
I've been coming to Safe and Sound for 20 plus years. Since my son was 6-month-old, he's 20 years old now. I now have 5 kids.
At the essence of the work at Safe and Sound, we're about building relationships and ask those questions around not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. Our clinical care coordinators, they're really there to be a partner with a family.
I advocate for my families for housing. I go with them to court. I go with them to doctor's appointments, helping them in schools where their kids are having some type of behavior issues. Hey, how's it going? Good. Anywhere where they need support, I am there with them step by step. April was self-parented. She didn't know what an active parent looked like. She had to go back to realize what she needed as a child and to go through those stages to be the parent she is now.
When I was raised, we got the belt. So coming to Safe and Sound and going to the parenting classes, they teach you other ways in dealing with discipline.
The support April needed over time changed as her kids got older.
When the kids became teenagers, I experienced my own trauma at their age, and then that's when it resurfaced.
April was like, I did not have boundaries when I was growing up, and I want to put these boundaries and rules in place for my kids. I was able to go in, hang out with the family, support the family, just in basic house rules and family meetings. My relationship with the families is intimate. I feel like I'm a part of their family, and they feel like they're a part of my family.
It's so important to think about children within a system. Everyone needs to know about how to prevent child abuse. And it's about educating the community, children, caregivers. We have this amazing program in our schools.
You are the most important person to keep yourself safe. If we don't want someone to touch our body, it's okay to say no. If someone ever tries to touch your private parts and they're not the adults to keep you clean and healthy, you give that person a strong no. No. I want you to get away from that person as soon as you can, and then I need you to tell an adult. Let's do our strong no. No! Get away! Tell someone. Good job.
Those words save lives. It's incredible what kids will do when they have those tools to go to a safe adult that they can get help.
Child safety awareness would not work as well if we weren't also training parents and providers around that surround these children. What I don't want this message to become is that we're putting the accountability on kids to keep themselves safe. But it is super important for kids to know when they're safe and when they're unsafe, and that their feelings and instincts are real and should be taken seriously by the adults around them.
An important trend in the field is to ensure that we have evidence-based approaches, and that is critical. But there's absolutely a gap between evidence-based practice and what we know works. It's really hard to measure bringing a family in to have a meal together.
One of the things that impressed us so much about Safe and Sound is the activities are geared towards decreasing social isolation for families who otherwise might find themselves quite vulnerable to bad things happening.
We all make mistakes, and that's okay. We all fall down. What matters is that you pick yourself back up again, dust yourself off, and keep going. My son Daniel pretty much grew up in Safe and Sound. He is the first one in our family to go to college. His major is a civil engineer.
She means everything to me. She's been through hell and back. If she wasn't here, I definitely wouldn't become the man that I am today. I'm blessed to have been raised to be able to show love and receive it. You know, it's the Ortega family's turn to do better.
April has grown from being scared, not knowing, with her first child, questioning a lot of things, totally confident now. The tools she learned, she's now giving other parents.
We need to protect kids with their families, not from their families.
If we fully embrace primary prevention, we not only affect individual children and individual families, we affect entire communities.